Metropole Debrief is a dialogue and everyone has a say. Time now for your say. My mic is off and your voice comes on Social Watch. We always want you to be a part of that conversation, and that is why we always interact with you online to hear what you have to say on Twitter, on Instagram, and even on the streets of Nairobi, so we can make you a part of this conversation because your voice matters. So let's take a look at some of the views that you've been sharing online. On Instagram, Caroline.Mutoko says, COVID-19 isn't going anywhere. At some point, we must get back to work. So we live, we work, and we live around it and with it. Our new normal, sanitization, social distancing are here with us for a while. Fellow Kenyans, let's start working on the plan. The plan is how. How do we do this? The people with the best plan win. Let us use this time to plan. Caroline Mutoko is exactly echoing the sentiments that Enoch shared a while back, that this is our new normal and we have to find a way of working around it, wearing our masks, social distancing, sanitizing our hands, and just ensuring that we keep safe as we try to reopen. This raises a very good point. What is the plan? What is the plan? What's the government's plan? What's the private sector's plan? What is your plan as an individual? What's the plan of your business, or what's your career plan moving forward? But everything changes, but we just have to adapt to the new normal. Sentiments shared by Caroline Mutoko on Instagram. Let's take a look at what you guys had to say on Twitter. We begin with Hilda Muteshi, who says, hashtag COVID_19 has just started. Forget about hashtag lockdown Kenya. You can't lock down the world forever. Think of how to live with coronavirus in Kenya. How can life move on? How can we transition and live relatively normal life? What opportunities or options do you have? Well, she raises a very solid point, and some people have gone ahead to leverage on some of the opportunities that COVID-19 has brought forth. Enoch raised a point saying ICT are the biggest winners during this COVID-19 pandemic, because it's showing us how we can leverage on take and make most of our daily lives easier, things that we had to go there and do manually. For example, meetings are now held on Zoom. We just had our interview on Zoom with him. He didn't have to come into studio. So time now for our techies to get out there and make our own homegrown solutions. You know, Zoom is not a Kenyan innovation. So maybe it's time we see Kenyan innovations that will help ease the burden of life during this coronavirus pandemic. Let's take a look at another sentiment. Chris Kibathi said, I have been thinking, banks have been operating all this time with COVID-19 measures in place. Why can't all other sectors open up and follow the same guidelines? Soon, something is gonna give, and I agree COVID-19 will take long to completely be eradicated. So probably even if we have a conversation around a vaccine, talk has it that a vaccine will not be coming out unless a year has passed and enough tests have been done. So this just means that we have to find another way of adapting to our new normal. And the government has already tried doing that with trying to ease back the hospitality sector back into business with very stringent guidelines on hygiene and sanitation. Let's take a look at another view here. This is by Sam Kizito Kemboi. Says, this is a confused government. Not until a disaster strikes that it wakes up from the slumber. When things normalize, youths are completely forgotten and ignored like nobody's business. That's the time you will see the likes of Modi Awori appointed to lucrative government jobs. Sam is just expressing his thoughts on the sentiments that the president made, that they were going to absorb at least 26,000 youths to join forces and work in the sanitation sector to ensure that we uphold sanitation in public places, ensure that we are spraying our public spaces with the right sanitizers, just ensuring that there's proper public hygiene out there to minimize the risk of Kenyans getting infected with coronavirus. But Sam says, well, too little, too late. These are things that should have been done way long time ago. Tap into the youth, the other majority of the population, and not when disaster strikes, but during ordinary times. Let's take a look at another. Bush Chariot says, big joke, government trying to paint itself good. This country is a comedy club. President, quote, we can't force landlords to suspend rather rent bills, end of quote. But we can pay jobless youth and stimulus to the poor. Really? Criteria, now strike, elected leaders crying, wananchi tungangane na hali yetu. Well, looks like Bush has lost all the faith he ever had in the system and says it's every man for themselves. Any other comment we'd look at Philosopher 254 says, boss, have you tried to pay any bill / rates license fee to any government or county government? They're adding penalties as usual if you are late. Don't buy the verbal promise, just pay your bills, stay at home, and other luxuries aren't for all. So this goes to the president's address to the nation recently, where he said he's directing Kenya Power not to disconnect power to people who have not been able to pay their bills, encouraging Kenyans to stay at home, maintain social distancing, and Philosopher is saying no. It doesn't work like that. If you don't pay your electricity bills, they will add penalties, and at the end of the day, whether COVID ends today or next year, you'll still have to pay. And he's also saying stay at home and other luxuries are not for all Kenyans. Unfortunately, that is the bitter truth. Let's take a look at another comment just before we cross over to the streets and hear what you have to say. At Jane Doe says, how about the government waives the landlord's income tax on rent, tax on land rates, and other applicable taxes, suspend any construction loans they currently have. Then, in equal measures, the landlord will reciprocate. Good point. Scratch my back, I scratch yours. If you do something for the landlords, then the landlords will be obligated to return a favor. If all we're doing is pleading with them, then the landlords will also plead with tenants to try and pay their rent. This is what the social scene looks like. This is what you had to say online on Social Watch. So let's head out to the streets and find out what ordinary Kenyans had to say about our topic of discussion today. This is Street Talk.
We can start opening economy progressively. First of all, yesterday there was an economic survey which was released. It showed how we did poorly last year, and the first quarter of this year we might not do very well. But we can start opening the sectors which are resistant to open. For example, a lot of manufacturing should continue slowly. Transport of goods should continue, not for persons. Persons will wait. In terms of accommodation and hotel sector, it should also reduced slightly.
I don't think it's okay.
Ikiwezekana afadhali wafungue hata vitu zingine, kwa sababu kama economy imeharibika kabisa, kazi zimeharibika kabisa, na unaona tu tangu jana tu waliposema hoteli zifunguliwe, watu wanaonekana wamejaa town.
They cannot be sure that everybody is safe.
Yeah, I can say yes or no. The reason why I'm saying both two answers. Number one, yes, because people are suffering. As a business people, you know that without good people, we depend on people who are working so that they can make some salary there and they buy our thing. But now there's no anything happening around Kenya because of low economy, economy iko chini, watu waendi kazi. Watu wasipoenda kazi unapata kwamba pia ina affect biashara zetu. Na sababu na nyingine ninafanya niseme no, sababu pia tunaogopa. Yaani tunataka pesa lakini bado tunaogopa.
Hapana, bado. Wacha kwanza kukae hivyo bado kutulie, sababu watu already washaumia.
Ingekuwa ni sawa. Government should release the money in the economy. First of all, the pending bills, the money for old people, all other salaries to be paid, money to the counties, all that should go immediately, and then we follow progressively, and that's how the economy can pick up.
I think the government is supposed to create more jobs, support the business people who have been locked down without doing anything for their income.
Government isirudi tena kuweka zile sheria tough, especially in economy, because wakiweka sheria tough kama sasa hiyo wenye wamepunguza 2% economy, mimi ningependa ikuwe reduced mpaka 5% kwanza for the last 10% for the next 6 months 1 year. Watu wapiki. Ikipiki sasa hata wakitupandishia tutakuwa tuko na pesa kwa mfuko.
Wanaweza kutusaidia kama venye wanaweza saidia raia yani. Sababu kila mtu ako chini, hata wafanyikazi, biashara, kila kona yani.
The government has made good proposals of what should be done, but they have not moved to do them immediately. 3 examples. It's good when the other time the president came with the reforms in terms of paying pending bills, making sure all bills are paid, all those money injected in the economy. Those were good ideas, but it has not been done.
No, 2% haitoshi bwana. 2% kama kitu ilikuwa 2000.
Ile kitu wangefanya kwanza, wapatie mwananchi wa kawaida, mtu mwenye ameumia food, sababu hiyo tu ndio essential.
Okay, our government is doing quite well. They are really working hard, and I commend them for the good work, especially the CS who is handling that issue of coronavirus.
Kidogo, lakini sasa bado kuna vile bado watu hawako, sababu ile kitu ya kwanza walisema wanapeana sanitizer bure, unaona, wakasema kuna zile mask zenye zinapeanwa bure. Hiyo kitu mimi nakuanga hapa 24/7 CBD sijaiona, unaona, lakini sasa mnazikiangaza huo zinapeanwa, lakini hakuna kitu ishaifanyika hapa.
It may increase the spread of the virus because now the people who have not yet been tested and they are still carrying the virus, if we intermingle with them, it can end up being a more worse situation than we have been.
It might not enhance the spread because somehow we've known the danger of the virus. We are now trying to behave in a better way rather than the way we were behaving in the past.
Sasa tulikuwa tumeambiwa tufanye nini? Tukae huku ndio nini? Tusispread. Unaona? That means ikifunguliwa tutaenda kuspread wapi? Up countries.
Najua hata si ati kuogopa corona ama nini. Kama hata saa hii corona ikitaka kunipata itanipata.
Mimi naona tu hata wakifungua hizi vitu zingine bora tu tufuate masharti ambayo serikali inasema. Tujizuie, yani kila mtu vile anaweza.
Well, those are some of the views you shared on the streets. And always be on the lookout. You never know. You might bump into the Metropole Debrief Street Talk team in the streets, and they'll be able to get your views. So always be on the lookout for that team when you're in the streets of Nairobi. So that is what you had to say. We're almost coming to a close of the show. But before we do, we want to introduce the second cohort of our Debrief Hall. Let's begin with the Debrief Hall of Shame. And this time around, we are away from Nairobi and we are making our way all the way to Bungoma County. On your screen is Bungoma County Governor, and he is Governor Wycliffe Wangamati. Now, he is not new to you. Bungoma County is not new on the news in terms of controversy, and this time round, up to 6.9 million was withdrawn from the county bank account in a single day and handed out to county staff who paid suppliers in cash. Now, what did the suppliers do? The suppliers include a shadowy firm that supplied 600 hand-washing jerrycans, which Governor Wycliffe Wangamati claimed were donated, but he could not name the donor. But county officials on paper say each jerrycan costed 10,000 Kenya shillings. So here we are as a country struggling with the COVID-19 pandemic, trying to find as much funds as we can to ensure we buy PPEs for our doctors, to ensure that there's enough hand sanitizer out there, to ensure that our grassroots stimulation and activation on coronavirus awareness is on top. Yet, Governor Wycliffe Wangamati, in his wisdom, together with his team, decided that a jerrycan, a hand-washing jerrycan, should go for 10,000 Kenya shillings, and now 6.9 million is missing from the Bungoma County bank account. This just goes to show that sometimes devolution works in our favor, but when you elect people like Wycliffe Wangamati, devolution will definitely work against you. And shame on the governor, because a pandemic like COVID-19 is not a time to make profit. It's a time to come together and look out for people. And that takes us to our Debrief Hall of Fame. So a round of applause for our cohort of the Debrief Hall of Fame class. His name is Stephen Wamukota. He is 9 years old and he is from Siboti Ward in Bumula constituency. And he has come up with a hand washing machine that has left many people amazed with his innovation. Now, this hand washing machine does not require you to either touch the hand sanitizer or the jerrycan. He has levers down here on this machine, and all you have to do is tap on the soap lever and the soap will pour on your hands, and if you step on the jerry can lever, then water will trickle down from the jerry can. He is a pupil at Mokwa Primary School, and this machine is an innovation that will save many people from exposing themselves from the risk of contracting coronavirus. Because come to think of it, when you're going to use hand sanitizer, sometimes you have to press the tap. So he has come up with an innovation that ensures you do not touch anything. You just step on the levers and the water comes out together with the hand sanitizer. A round of applause, you at home, for this little boy from Bungoma County that has saved the face of a county that would have rather gone down as a cohort in the Debrief Hall of Shame class. Good job to him, and we hope that the county government, besides not using their brain and buying 10,000 jerry cans, or rather buying jerry cans worth 10,000 Kenyan shillings, can for once do the right thing, adopt this prototype and ensure that they make more of this and put them in public places. Innovation at its best, as Enoch said. So that is all we had for you on the Debrief Hall today, the Debrief Hall of Shame and the Debrief Hall of Fame. But before we go, we always have to dose each other with a bitter dose of the truth, and this is Debrief Take Home. So today on Take Home, we're not bashing anyone. We just want to paint a visual picture of how things are. Think of this, that woman in Kibra, Katwekera, who wakes up every morning and walks all the way to Langata to sit outside apartments and wait for people to come out and call her to wash their clothes for at least 300 shillings or 500 shillings a day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, she was not able to wash clothes. Why? Because maybe the people who always call her to wash their clothes have not been paid, or they've received salary reductions and they'd rather wash the clothes by themselves. How are her children surviving on one meal a day? Maybe black tea. Think about also that gentleman maybe who lives in Dandora or Kawangware that walks all the way to Yaya Center or town or Westlands to try and look for a construction site so that she can do them Django Day, or rather he can do them Django Day that day and make his 500 or 800 shillings. Right now, all construction has come to a halt. How is he surviving? Think about that lady who is a cleaner in a casino, or that gentleman who's a waiter in a restaurant. How are they surviving at this time? That is why maybe we need to reopen, because when end month comes, you've seen these stories on the news. Some don't have roofs on their houses. Some, the agents have taken doors from their houses because they're unable to pay rent. So they have to go back to work. But again, think about it this way. If we haven't found a way of controlling coronavirus and ensuring that we have proper measures put in place to protect these people, they will go out there and they might get exposed to the disease. Now, if we think of quarantine facilities, because even if anyone suspects you have coronavirus, you go to a quarantine facility. How much are the bills? 16,000, 32,000, 52,000, and the conditions are not very favorable. That's why we're seeing people running away from those quarantine facilities. Some have not been tested 2 weeks in those quarantine facilities. Where do we go from here? As Caroline Mutoko said, we need a plan. We need to ensure that we reopen the economy so that people can go back to making a decent living, but we also need to ensure that our health system is up to speed with the challenge that coronavirus poses. And you as a Kenyan, all you can do is wash your hands with soap and running water, maintain social distance, and if you can, please wear a mask. That is all we had for you on this episode of Metropole Debrief. We'll see you again next week, same place, same time. Until then, you can always catch this episode and much more on YouTube at Metropole TV Kenya. See you.